I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Joni, the woman I had been married to for 7 years, was sitting on the table in the dining car with her friend Jim, who was having sex with her like there was no tomorrow. I looked around, thinking there had to be an attendant or a waiter somewhere, but strangely enough, there wasn't. At that moment, all the love I had ever felt for my wife died. This was supposed to be a fun little trip for the two of us, a chance to reconnect. I was surprised when she told me Jim, her coworker, would be joining us. She insisted he was a friend to both of us. But honestly, I didn't care for the guy, and at the time, I couldn't think of a single reason he would want to come along. Now I knew. I also knew I'd need evidence for my divorce. Oh yes, it was over, between us. Of course, seeing them doing it on a table was somewhat arousing, but there was no way I was going to tolerate that level of disrespect. I pulled out my phone and started recording their little encounter on video. I had no desire to listen to or hear a word they had to say. It felt like they were having sex on that table for an eternity, and I couldn't believe how rough Jim was with her. And what's worse, it seemed like she actually liked it. Maybe I should have been rough with her too, but that just wasn't my style. Finally, they stopped. Joni adjusted her dress and handed Jim her panties, new, sexy panties that I thought she had bought for me. "We have to be careful," she said as they took their seats. "If George finds out about us, he won't be happy." "Screw that weakling, Jim," said with a smirk. "We've been having sex all of last year, and he still hasn't figured it out." What? I thought to myself. This crap has been going on for a year. I knew things between Joni and me had been a bit strained because of my demanding work schedule, but damn it, that schedule was what kept a roof over our heads. Sure, Joni worked too, but whatever salary she earned went straight to things she wanted. Clothes, accessories, trips to the beauty salon, and so on. That was the whole point of taking a few days off, to travel by train, do some sightseeing, and spend some time in each other's arms. "So," Jim said, "are you planning to get him to clean you when you get back to him?" "That would be so wicked, wouldn't it?" she replied with a smirk. "Did you do what I said about the birth control?" he asked. Joni nodded. "Yes," she said. "I stopped taking it so you could get me pregnant. I told George I'm on my period this week, so he's not expecting any sex." They both laughed heartily at that. "So why are you still with him?" Jim asked. "Obviously you don't love him. Otherwise you wouldn't be doing this to him." "Well, it's not that I don't love him," she said. "I like him well enough. But I just don't feel that burning passion for him anymore. Besides, he brings in a good salary, and you know, I couldn't survive on what I earn. You're staying with him for the money," he said. She nodded. "To a large extent, yes," she replied. "Damn it. I could never afford the kind of comfort he's giving me on this trip, and neither could you. When do you want to get together again?" he asked. "I don't know." "Maybe later tonight after he goes to sleep," she said. That was enough. I had seen and heard all I needed, so I stopped recording the video. I returned to the sleeping car where Joni and I were staying and began to consider my options. Divorce was a given, but there had to be something more. Both she and her boyfriend-lover needed to pay for what they had done. I took out my phone again and opened the contacts section, searching for my lawyer's number. Fred Juergens, the man, answered. "Fred, it's George. I need you to start preparing divorce papers for me, and I want you to use the prenuptial agreement," I said. "Divorce?" Fred asked, surprised. "Are you sure about this?" "I've never been more sure of anything in my life," I replied. "On what grounds?" Fred asked. "Infidelity," I said. "I have a video I can send you if you need evidence." "Yes, send it," Fred replied. "I've got the prenup on file, so the paperwork won't take long." "When do you want her served?" "The sooner the better," I said. "We'll be back in Springfield in a couple of days, so maybe you can arrange for her to be served at the train station. I also need to find out everything I can about her guy, Jim Simpson. He works with her." I'll assign our investigator to handle it, Fred said. Send me the video and I'll take a look. Just don't do anything stupid, got it? Yeah, of course, I said. You know me. I do, Fred replied. That's exactly why I told you not to do anything stupid. Fred always managed to make me laugh. We ended the call and I sent him the video. Then I leaned back in my seat and spent a minute thinking about what else I could do. I took out my tablet and connected my phone to it. After transferring the video to the tablet, I enabled the phone's hotspot and used it to connect the tablet to our home network through a VPN, a virtual private network. I had set it up some time ago to securely access my files from anywhere in the world. The first thing I did was log into our banking system and perform the usual dance, closed our joint accounts, transferred the funds, and so on. I wasn't about to take any chances, even with a prenuptial agreement in place. Then another wicked idea came to mind. Joni liked using the home computer for her personal email. Fortunately, she wasn't too savvy when it came to things like security, so I was able to log into her email account with just a few clicks. I copied the video, first to the tablet, then to the home computer. Opening her email client, I composed a message, doing my best to write the way she would that I used a cheesy subject line that sounded just like her. Check out my fun train trip. And in the body of the email I wrote, "Look what I'm doing while my clueless hubby sleeps." Then I attached the video to the email and sent it to everyone in her contact list. That's right. Friends, family, co-workers, anyone and everyone I could. I stared at the screen for a minute, then hit send. To hell with all of it, I thought to myself. I opened the door to our compartment just in time to see one of the train attendants. I motioned for him to come over when he looked up at me. "Is everything all right, sir?" he asked. "Well, my wife says she wants to move to a different compartment," I said. "Could you tell me which compartment Jim Simpson is in?" The attendant glanced at his tablet for a moment before replying. "You want your wife's belongings moved to that compartment?" he asked. "Are you sure? That's an economy class. It's nowhere near as nice as this one." "That's life," I said. He nodded in understanding. "Got it," he said. "Of course, I'll help you pack her things." We worked quickly, not really caring how neatly her clothes were packed. Once we were done, I helped the attendant carry her belongings to his compartment, which was half the size of ours. I laughed as I dropped her things onto his tiny bunk bed. Let her deal with it herself, I thought to myself. "I'll need to make her a new key card," the attendant said. He pulled a blank white card from his pocket and slid it into a magnetic writer connected to his tablet. When he was finished, he looked at me. "Do you know where she is?" he asked. I nodded. "I know where she was the last time I saw her," I said. "Lead the way." He replied that we walked through the entire train and entered the dining car. Joni and Jim were still flirting with each other when we approached. I sat down in one of the chairs at the table, and the attendant got Joni's attention. "Yes," she asked, looking startled. "I need to give you your new key card," the attendant said, "and to pick up the old one." She looked surprised. "What do you mean?" she asked. "Apparently there was a mix-up with the compartment assignments, so I need to issue you a new key," he said. This guy was cool as ice, I thought, irritated. Joni pulled out her key card and handed it to the attendant. He smiled and gave her the new one. "Thank you," he said. "Enjoy the rest of your trip." He turned and walked away. Joni glared at me angrily. "What the hell are you doing?" she asked. "Just making the game easier for you and Jim," I said. Her eyes widened. "What do you mean?" she asked. "You think I don't know about you too?" I said. Joni began to panic. She looked at Jim, who now looked uneasy. He glanced at her key card and noticed the compartment number. "Wait a second," he said. "That's the key to my compartment." I nodded. I figured this way. "You two wouldn't have to keep having sex on the dining table," I said. "I get that it might be a bit cramped in there, but it is what it is. By the way, Joni ever tell you about the prenuptial agreement she signed when we got married? What are you talking about? Jim asked. Well, if you're going to sleep with someone's wife, you should probably learn a little about her first. Wouldn't you agree? I said. Look, this was just for fun, he replied. We didn't mean anything by it. Joni jumped in. That's right, George, she said. It was all just for fun. It doesn't affect our marriage in any meaningful way, really. I asked, pulling out my tablet. I scrolled the video to the part where they were talking and tapped the play icon. Listen to this, I said. I like him well enough, but I just don't feel that burning passion for him anymore. Besides, he brings in a good salary, and you know I couldn't live on what I earn, said Joni's voice in the video. So, you're staying with him for the money, Jim said in the video. She nodded. I paused the video and looked at her. So, you're just a parasite, I said. To you, I'm nothing more than a walking paycheck. Honey, she began. I cut her off. You don't get to call me honey, sweetheart, darling, or anything else, you leech, I said. In fact, I don't think you should even use my name. From now on, you'll refer to me as Mr. DeValier. And since you no longer consider yourself my wife, I'll take this, I added, removing her wedding ring. And this, I said, grabbing her purse, and pulling the house key from the large key ring she kept inside. I took off my wedding ring and placed it in front of Jim. You can have this. I don't need it anymore. Then I turned to him. In the prenuptial agreement she signed, Jim, it clearly states that in the event of infidelity, the guilty party, in this case Joni, gets absolutely nothing. I'll let her keep her clothes and jewelry, but that's it. I don't think she'll be able to keep making payments on her car. Fortunately, I registered it in her name, so the hit will go straight to her credit score. You, he said, starting to stand up. I grabbed a fork and jabbed it toward his hand that he sat back down. Don't mess with me, idiot, I said. Please, Joni said, tears welling up in her eyes. Mr. Duvalier, please don't do this. I've learned my lesson. Can't you just forgive me so we can put this behind us? No, you vile creature, I said, rewinding the video to the part where they started talking about getting Joni pregnant. I played it loud enough so both of them could hear every word clearly. You two have been doing this behind my back for an entire year. And you conspired to get knocked up by Jim and pass the baby off as mine, I hissed, staring at Joni right now. I hate you with every fiber of my being. And I pray to God I never see you again. I turned to Jim before continuing. You wanted a lying, cheating lover jerk. Well, you got one, I said. Good luck. I doubt she'll be getting much support from her family or friends. What do you mean? Joni asked that I shrugged. Check your email, I said. She pulled out her phone and opened her mail app. Her eyes widened. What did you do? She asked. I just shared your little adventure with your family and friends, I said. You looked like you were having such a great time. I figured you'd want everyone to see it. You... She hissed. My parents just disowned me, and my sister says she never wants to see me again. My friends think I'm a worthless adulteress, and now they all hate me. Can you really blame them? I asked calmly. I gave you 7 of the best years of my life. I loved only you that whole time, never even looked at another woman. I worked myself to the bone for you. I bought that big house you had to have. I bought you that brand new BMW. I never complained when you spent all your money on yourself. And I never questioned you when you said you were going out with the girls. And what did I get in return? You ripped out my heart. You cheated on me and destroyed our marriage. So no, I don't blame them one bit. Please, just give me one more chance. She pleaded that I shook my head. No, I said. You could have stopped this at any time, but you chose not to. So this is the end of the line. You made your bed. Now you're going to lie in it. I hope all of this was worth it for you, I said. I believe you'll be served the papers once we get to Springfield. Just sign them, and let's be done with it. Then, you and Jim can have sex with each other to death. I don't care anymore, Jay. Mr. Duvalier, she said. Is there anything I can do to make it up to you? I'll do anything. I stood up and paused for a moment before replying. Yes, I said. There is one thing. Actually, two. Her eyes lit up with hope. Eat. And die. She collapsed into tears and fainted as I turned and walked away, that I barely held back my own tears as I returned to our compartment. After I closed and locked the door, my phone rang. It was her parents, but apparently they'd seen the video I sent George. What the hell is going on? Cliff, Joni's father, asked. Hi, Cliff, I said. I caught your daughter having sex with another man. I recorded it and sent it to you. I'm filing for divorce under the terms of our prenuptial agreement. I believe she'll be served when the train arrives in Springfield. I just wanted you to know why I'm divorcing her. Is there any way to just overlook this? He asked. I mean, divorce is so drastic. No, Cliff, I said. If you listen to what your daughter and her lover actually said, you'll understand there's no way I can get past her betrayal. To her, I'm nothing more than a paycheck. Nothing else. She even wanted me to raise another man's child. That foolish girl, he said quietly. I heard you disowned her, I said. No, he replied. I asked her to give me just one good reason not to. I'm still waiting. Well, in any case, I'm glad you made us sign that prenup, I said. Things may not have turned out the way you expected, but you did me a huge favor. I'm sorry, George, he said. You're right. And honestly, over time, I came to love you like the son I never had. I think highly of you too, I said. Is there anything we can do? He asked. Actually, yes, I said. Do you still have that spare house key I gave you? Yes, we still have it, he replied. Would you be able to call a moving truck and get her things out of the house? I asked. I won't be back in town for a couple more days, and I don't want her in the house. I'll reimburse you for the cost of the truck. Of course, we can do that, he said. What about her car? You can take that too, but I'm not sure how long she'll be able to keep it, I said. Maybe you can teach her how to budget, or maybe she'll trade it in for something she can actually afford. All right, he replied. Listen, George, I really am sorry about all of this. It's not your fault, I said. We said our goodbyes and ended the call. The phone rang again the moment I slipped it back into my pocket. It was Joni's cousin, Lisa. I answered. What do you want, Lisa? I asked. So you finally found out about Joni? She said. Yeah, I replied. I take it you're going to divorce that worthless creature? She asked. Of course, I said. I've already started the process. Good, she said. You know, I've always had a thing for you. Truth be told, I had always found Lisa damn attractive. Active too, but I was married to her cousin, which made her off limits. Well, you're pretty sexy yourself, I said. Lisa had a habit of wearing short skirts and tiny ripped shorts around me, and it had always driven me a little crazy. So you noticed, she said. Of course, I replied. Now that you've kicked that creature out, do you think we can sleep together? She asked. Maybe once the divorce is finalized, I said. All right, I get it, she said. I've waited 7 years for you, so I guess I can wait a few more months. Then I'm going to have sex with you until you pass out. See you when you get back. The call ended, leaving me alone with my tension. Maybe, after all this, something good could still come of it. The next 2 days passed by fairly quickly for me. I spent most of my time on the phone. I rarely left my compartment, not wanting to come face to face with those 2 traitors. I heard from Fred, who confirmed what I had suspected. Jim Simpson, was a known womanizer who had been divorced twice for infidelity. His most recent wife had also accused him of domestic abuse. I figured Joni would be drawn to someone like that, but I had still hoped she'd wake up in time and leave him. Shortly before the train arrived in Springfield, there was a knock at my door. "Who is it?" I asked through the closed door. "It's me, Joni," she said. "What do you want?" I asked. "I want my husband back," she shouted. "Tough luck, creature," I said. "I wanted a faithful wife who loved me, but I didn't get that, did I?" "Please, Jay." Mr. Duvalier, I made a mistake," she cried out. "You went way beyond a mistake, adulteress," I said. "Now get out of here before I call security." "You're supposed to be in economy class, please," she begged. "Can't we just talk?" "No," I said. "Leave. I never want to see you again." I heard her sniffle as she walked away. Some part of me felt a shred of sympathy for her, but honestly, I didn't care. She brought all of this on herself, with her lies, her betrayal, and her complete lack of respect, that I got off the train and looked around to see if I could spot her and Jim. I saw them a few cars down, stepping off the train. Neither of them looked particularly happy. Tough luck, I thought to myself. As I watched, a man approached Joni and handed her a thick envelope. She opened it and immediately burst into tears. I smiled and walked away that I got into my car and drove home. I noticed Joni's car was gone, and all her belongings had been cleared out, including some furniture she had brought with her when we got married. I unpacked my things and walked through the house, taking down every photo that had her in it. I didn't want a single reminder of that cheating creature that a couple of hours later, I heard a knock at the door. I looked out the window and saw Lisa. God, she looked incredible in those shorts. I opened the door and let her in. She was carrying a large dish of something that smelled like lasagna. She walked in as if she owned the place and set the dish down on the kitchen table. When she turned back to me, I gave her a once-over from head to toe. She was wearing a cropped t-shirt that barely reached below her chest. Her shorts were even shorter than I remembered, and there was just a tiny strip of fabric visible between her legs. "I just wanted to make sure you had something tasty," she said. "I don't want you going hungry." "Thanks, Lisa," I said. "I appreciate it." Her eyes sparkled as she smiled. "Would you like to stay and have dinner with me?" I asked. "I'd love to," she said. "Go wash up. I know where everything is." I headed upstairs and freshened up quickly before returning. By the time I got back, the table was set, and Lisa had even poured us each a glass of wine. I pulled out a chair for her and admired her slim hips as she sat down. She grabbed my plate and served me a generous slice of lasagna, loaded with meat, and layers of cheese. I thought it must have taken her quite a bit of effort to make. After she gave herself a smaller portion, I looked at her. "It looks delicious," I said. "Thank you," she replied. "I love cooking, especially for someone who really means something to me." The lasagna tasted just as good as it looked, and I ate every bite, even wiping the plate clean with a piece of garlic bread she had baked. "You must have been hungry," she said. "There's no way I'd waste a meal that good," I said. "That was the best lasagna I've ever had." She smiled and stepped in close to me. "I'm glad you liked it," she said, sitting down on my lap. "There's plenty more where that came from. And maybe someday I'll even bring you dessert," she added, lifting her shirt to reveal her beautiful, perky B-cup breasts. I felt a familiar stirring in my pants as she gave me a deep, passionate kiss. "I need to head home and feed my cat, but I'll be back tomorrow," she said. "I can't wait," I replied. She smiled as she stood up. "That was just a preview of what I've got planned for you," she said. "I guess I'll just have to let little George take care of me until your divorce is final." "Little George?" I asked. "That's what I call my toy," she said. "I like to fantasize about you making love to me while I use it." "I see," I said. "Well, let's hope. Joni doesn't contest the divorce. We shared a few kisses before Lisa left. Fortunately, Joni didn't fight the divorce. Apparently, she realized I had her backed into a corner and decided to dissolve the marriage. She and Jim managed to keep their jobs, but from what I heard, it wasn't easy for them. She signed the papers and called me to apologize and confirm that everything was done. Fred called to let me know the signed documents had been filed and that in 30 days, I'd be a free man. Was I happy? I was certainly glad to be rid of a cheating, adulterous wife, but a part of me still felt something was missing. For years, I had loved only this woman. I had hoped to grow old with her, surrounded by children and grandchildren. But that future was no longer possible. I was also frustrated that I never truly got to make Jim pay that I considered filing an alienation of affection lawsuit. But Fred told me it would be a waste of time. I thought about beating him within an inch of his life, but decided against it. I had no desire to end up in jail. Lisa came over every evening with something she had cooked, and we shared dinner together. She even marked my calendar, counting down the days until the divorce would be finalized. She was an insatiable tease, and even gave me a couple of DVDs filled with her selfies and homemade videos featuring little George. Most evenings, I spend my time watching those videos, Lisa playing with little George, moaning my name, and begging me to make love to her. She always ended by blowing me a kiss. I definitely had something to look forward to. Before long, the 30 days were up, and I received the documents confirming that the divorce was finalized. I was surprised I hadn't heard anything from Joni. I figured she would have called or done something foolish by now, but she hadn't. Oh well. Lisa didn't wait for me to call. She showed up that very day and knocked on the door. I found it a bit strange since I had already given her a key to the house and told her she could come by any time. I opened the door and got the biggest shock of my life. There she was, standing on the front porch, completely naked, her bare feet planted just far enough apart that I could see everything. I brought her inside and kissed her deeply, my hands gliding over her smooth skin. She kissed me back just as fiercely, all the while stripping the clothes from my body. Eventually, we found ourselves naked on the couch. One thing led to another, and Lisa showed me just how deeply she desired me, with a level of passion I had never experienced before. After an intense moment between us, she climbed onto my lap, guiding our connection with surprising confidence and hunger. "Make me yours, baby," she whispered, breathless. "From now on, I belong to you." And who was I to argue? The intensity between us built until we reached a shared peak of pleasure, holding each other tightly as the moment overwhelmed us both. "This is so much better than I ever imagined," she moaned softly. "Don't ever stop. Love me. Claim me. I want to be yours completely." "I love you too," I murmured, gently rolling her beneath me, settling between her welcoming thighs. We made love again, and again on that couch, and finally moved to the bedroom, where we spent most of the night wrapped in each other's arms. I had never felt closer to anyone, and I never wanted to let her go. As we held each other, I realized I wanted to spend the rest of my life with this woman. She must have been thinking the same thing. She turned onto her side and looked into my eyes. "I've always loved you, George," she said. "I would never do to you what my foolish cousin did. I want to spend the rest of my life right here with you. Does that mean you'll marry me?" I asked. She smiled and wrapped her arms around me. "Yes, baby," she said. "I'll marry you, and I'll make you the happiest man on earth." We kissed and made love again before falling asleep in each other's arms. A few days later, I got a call from Joni's father. Lisa and I had just finished making love and were leaning back in bed, watching a movie and sharing a bowl of popcorn. "George, Joni's in the hospital. He said that I sat up, surprised what happened. I asked that jerk she was with beat her nearly to death," he said. "I told her to call the police, but she refused. Is she going to be okay?" I asked. Eventually, yes, but I don't think it'll last if she stays with him, he replied. All right, we'll head over there and check on her, I said. Her father asked. Yeah, Lisa and I replied. Lisa's there with you, he asked. Yes, I said. I wouldn't have gotten through all this without her. All right, he said. I understand. I'll see you at the hospital. After we hung up, I explained to Lisa what had happened and told her everything I had learned about damn Jim Simpson, that we were both still angry at Joni for what she had done, but neither of us ever wanted her to be physically hurt. That we cleaned ourselves up, got dressed, and headed to the hospital. After speaking with the nurse, we were led to her hospital room. She looked awful. Her face was bruised black and blue, and one eye was swollen shut. One arm was in a cast, and the other had an foredrip attached. She let out a faint groan as we entered the room. I wanted to hug her and tell her everything would be okay, but I didn't, Jay. Mr. Duvalier, she said, a tear rolling down her cheek that I raised my hand to stop her. You can call me George, I said. What happened? Jim wanted to use my car to take his girlfriend out on a date, she said slowly. I told him no. He got angry and started hitting me, calling me all sorts of names. I told him it was my car and that nearly half my paycheck goes toward paying for it, and there was no way I'd let him use it to impress some adulteress. He kept hitting me until I threatened to call 911. That's when he finally ran off. I don't know where he went. It was really hard to breathe and my chest hurt so badly, so I called 911, and they came and brought me here. Did you tell the cops what happened? Lisa asked. No, she said. I was too scared. I thought if they put him in jail, he'd kill me when he got out. I shook my head at the insanity I was hearing. Let me get this straight, I said. You ran off to live with the guy you cheated on me with, and now he's cheating on you. Is that right? She sobbed and nodded. Yes, she said. I really messed up, didn't I? Yeah, you did, Lisa said. But you don't deserve this. What he did was a crime, and he needs to be behind bars. Joni, I said. Did you know he had a history of domestic violence? I knew he could be a little rough sometimes, but no. I didn't know that, she said. Lisa hugged her cousin and tried to comfort her. Joni noticed the diamond ring on Lisa's finger. You're engaged? Joni asked. Lisa smiled and nodded. Yes, she said. George and I are getting married. Joni began to, her tears soaking into Lisa's t-shirt. But you're still my cousin, and I still love you, even though I think you're a foolish adulteress for what you did to George. Just then, Joni's parents walked into the room. They were furious when Lisa and I told them what had happened. All right, Cliff said to Joni. We're going to stay here with you, and once you're discharged, we'll take you back to the house. You'll stay with us until you're back on your feet. He then looked at me and motioned for me to step into the hallway. What do you know about this Simpson guy? He asked that I told him what I had learned from Fred, and he nodded, clearly taking mental notes. And you say he works with Joni? Yes, I confirmed. He nodded again. All right, I'll take care of Simpson, he said. I'm not going to discuss it with you. You don't need to know the details. Just trust me. What's going on between you and Lisa? He asked. Well, she helped me get through the divorce and now we're engaged. I said that. He smiled and nodded. I'm not surprised, he said. She's always had a thing for you. Congratulations. At least you'll still be part of the family. Thanks, I said. Is there anything I can do to help with Simpson? He shook his head. No, he said. I'll take care of everything. Besides, you're getting married soon, and the last thing Lisa needs is her new husband ending up in jail. The less you know, the better. Cliff walked down the hallway, talking to someone on his cell phone. I headed back to Joni's room. Her mother looked up at us. I'll stay with her overnight, she said. Cliff will make sure her things are collected from that man's apartment. Thank you for coming." "You're welcome," I said, giving her a hug. Joni looked at me with tears in her eyes. "I'm so sorry," she said, "for everything. Can you ever forgive me?" I paused for a moment before speaking. "I think so," I said, realizing both women were watching me. After all, we're still going to be family. "Thank you." She said that I stepped forward and gave her a gentle goodbye hug. "Get well soon," I said, kissing her lightly on the forehead. "Take good care of him," Joni said to Lisa. "Please." Lisa smiled and nodded. "I intend to." She said that we left the hospital and headed home. I had no idea what Cliff had in mind regarding Jim, but I had heard stories about his military service. I also knew he had friends in both high and low places, so I kept an eye on the local news and even checked the obituaries from time to time. I didn't see anything at the time, but a week later, a small article appeared in the local paper about a man who had been attacked and severely beaten outside a neighborhood bar. According to the report, the man, identified as Jim Simpson, had encountered a group of men who ended up breaking 3 of his ribs, his jaw, kneecap, and arm, along with causing injuries to his groin area. I couldn't help but laugh. Cliff retrieved Joni's belongings from the apartment and brought her back to his home. Her parents hated what she had done to me, but she was still their daughter, and they still loved her. Lisa and I got married a couple of months later. Since her parents had died in a car accident several years ago, Cliff walked her down the aisle and shook my hand. Joni came with her parents and cried when the preacher declared us husband and wife. We had a fantastic honeymoon in Las Vegas, where Lisa made love to me as often as she possibly could. When we returned, we moved her things into the house. She decided that, since I earned more than enough for both of us, she would quit her job. "I've got a new job now," she told me. "What is it?" I asked. "Making you happy," she said with a mischievous smile, and she did just that. Then one day, a few months later, she hit me with the words, "Every man secretly dreads." "We need to talk," she said after I came home from work. "Is something wrong?" I asked, bracing myself for her answer. "Well," she said, "we're going to need to redo one of the bedrooms." "Why?" I asked. She smiled. "Because," she said, "you're going to be a dad." I jumped with joy and wrapped her in my arms, covering her face with kisses. "Are you happy?" she asked. "I'm the happiest man in the world," I said. "Then take me upstairs and show me just how happy you are, big guy," she said. And I did again and again. Yeah, I thought. Sometimes life gives you lemons, and sometimes it gives you something so much better. Thank you for being with us. And if you're one of those who watches silently, just leave a like. It helps new stories come to light.